Hi, a film I finally caught this week after managing to either miss it or avoid it for the last few years was Rings, the third in the series of films based on the Japanese film Ring and in turn adapted from Koji Suzuki's novel. It follows a very similar plot to the first film in the series, where people get involved in investigating a mysterious videotape. It contains a series of bizarre, surreal, and frightening images. And after watching it, the person who's seen it gets a phone call telling them they'll die in 7 days. They then have to try and track down the mystery and work out how to avoid a horrible fate. The fate itself involves Samara, a young girl with psychic powers who was walled up inside a well, hence the ring being the ring of light she saw before she died. The original film, directed by Hideo Nakata, is a masterpiece. It's one of the most frightening films I've ever seen. A brilliant, creative story rooted in Japanese culture, but very uh, empathetic and applicable to Western audiences. Its remake, directed by Gore Verbinski, was weak, but essentially functional and serviceable. It had a sequel, again directed by Nakata, which most people didn't even bother remembering. And then, after a gap of about a decade, this series returned with Rings. It's pretty much a retread of the first film, um, except the cast are younger and much less expressive. In the original film, we had Naomi Watts, who I think at the time was a newly minted Oscar nominee. And here we have two actors whose names I've already forgotten. I think it's TV actors Matilda Lutz, Adam Rowe, I think. Very dull, flat, inexpressive actors. There are two notable names in the supporting roles. One of them I've completely forgotten already, Johnny Galecki, better known for The Big Bang Theory or When Very Young, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Here has a straight role as a professor investigating the mystery and getting groups of teenagers to watch the film and then make a copy for someone else to see, thus passing on the curse away from themselves. Galecki, known as a comedy actor, is surprisingly good, and Vincent D'Onofrio as the requisite role of the seasoned character actor who gives all the exposition at the end of the movie, is basically sleepwalking through the whole thing, giving a perfectly fine performance of terrible material. There's very little here that's in any way original. It looks the same as the other movies. It has no innovation in terms of style, storytelling, content. It's completely unoriginal in every single way, and I strongly get the feeling that everyone involved is just serving time. This is a film that I think exists only so that the rights holders to the US adaptation of The Ring can continue to uh, maintain it, rather like the 1994 version of the Fantastic Four, produced by Roger Corman solely so that the rights holders could retain them away from Marvel. There's an opening sequence where the curse reaches its 7 day limit while the cursed person is on an aeroplane, and so the seat back screen starts showing images of the well for Samara to climb out and attack her quarry. But we don't actually see very much of this. We're told that there is apparently a plane crash, and then none of it has anything to do with the rest of the story. It just is there solely to tease the audience and fill out the trailer. It's a junk movie, really. As far as I can see, there's no need to watch anything beyond the original Japanese film. That, in turn, has had a whole string of sequels and reboots. I believe I've only seen the first of them, Ring 2, which isn't based on any of Suzuki's other works, although his various books have been adapted in further sequels. I'd be interested in seeing any of them far more than I'd be interested in seeing another very dull, very identikit, very flat American retread of the same material.